blah 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 blah. Testing, testing. Sweet. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Hello, Mr. Obama? Hello? Hello? Do. Blah, 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 blah. Testing, testing. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's get some viewers in here. Filthy YouTubers. Okay, should close out my group chat. Alright, I'm just gonna get started. I've never streamed before. This is a brand new experience. So my apologies if I am not up to your standards. Basically, let me just explain what's going on here. I don't play a ton of video games because my time is kind of monopolized by my job and YouTube and, you know, having other hobbies. You know, just a lot of different stuff competing for my attention. But I play a truly disgusting amount of Magic the Gathering Arena, and a new expansion just came out, and from back in my Hearthstone days, I remember that people generally like streams of streamers opening packs. So I thought, ooh, yeah, the mic is echoey. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. This setup, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. This setup is not particularly sophisticated. This is my first attempt at streaming. This is kind of a cheap mic, and this you gotta understand, my apartment is not made for audio. It's this whole space is echoey. Like, that's why the audio in all of my ship videos sounds like shit. Anyway, from back in my Hearthstone days, actually, let me turn this down a little bit. It's probably too loud. I seem to remember people really liked watching streamers open packs. So I have a whole bunch of packs saved up because I bought the pre-order because I'm a whale, and yes, you can judge me for that. So I'm just gonna open a bunch of packs on stream and see what I get. I have not read through like the previews for all the cards, so I have no idea what I'm going to find in here. But you know, we'll take it as it comes. Now, the next thing I want to do, just so, because you gotta understand, I'm on a laptop. I don't have two screens, so I want to see if I can view my chat at the same time. Oh shit! Oh, thank you, Corvus. I think I know. All right. Everyone in chat, let me know if it sounds better now. I think I might have fixed it. Corvus, I think you were onto something. All right.
This is a large 3-topping pizza from Domino.
Come on. Corvus, I think. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. I figured it out. Sick. Yeah, I had a setting messed up in my OBS, so that's fixed now. All right, let me see if I can get this. Come on. All right, cool. This is extremely janky, but now that I've got the audio working decently, we can get this going. So let's open some packs. Like I said, I haven't looked at what's in the set up until now, so I'm going to be live reacting to all of this, and we'll see how this goes. So let's open the first pack. All right. Beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control another creature 4 or greater, +1. Okay. At the beginning of combat on your turn. Okay, so it can stack. That's pretty neat. Constellation. Whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, the top 3 cards of your library, you reveal a land among them. Put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. Okay. Can't attack or block. All right, solid. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that. 4 mana is a little high, but maybe. I'm not the best judge of these things. Additional cost. This sacrifice a creature and enchantment. 5 damage. Discard a card. Draw a card. All right. The anime eyes. +1/+1 and vigilance. All right. No! All right. I'll read that one later. All right. Let's just start with this. Elysian Grove. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other... Oh, God. That could be... I know there's a synergy card for that somewhere. All right. Enters tapped... 2/3. Doesn't untap during your untap step if you control a reflection. Enters the battlefield, create a reflection. Doesn't untap if you control a reflection and it creates a reflection. Interesting. Huh. Not sure how that would actually work in gameplay. Got a basic buff. Spells you cast cost 1 less. Then again, blue doesn't usually like playing stuff on its own turn, so if that was green, that'd be ridiculous. Maybe a blue-green deck? perhaps. Enters the play, deals 2 damage to any target. Flash to sacrifice scry 2. Sacrifice a creature, draw a card. If it's an enchanted creature, it also gains hexproof. Hexproof and indestructible. I feel like there's some token deck that's going to annoy the shit out of me with that. Ashiok's Erasure. Exile target spell. Can't cast spells with the same name. Leave the battlefield, return exiled card to its owner. Okay. I could see some use for that. Maybe. Play 2 and sacrifice a non-land permanent. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. Put that onto the battlefield. The rest, 6 mana for a red card makes me doubtful. Target creature, +1/+2. Each other creature, okay. Red Satyr token with this creature can't block. Exile 2 cards, okay. Flash. Well, I mean, creatures with flash are useful, but maybe I think it's probably too basic at 3 mana. Whenever you cast a spell that targets hero or the private creatures you control, get +1. Creatures dealt damage by incendiary order this turn would die. Exile it. All right, whatever. Pretty vanilla. Let's see what we got. Hey! Can't complain about a wild card. Top 4 cards of their library. Oh boy, more mill cards. Hateful Eidolon. A 1/2/1 mana. Whenever an enchanted creature dies, draw a card for each aura you control that was attached to it. I mean, there are probably better 1-drops, but there are definitely worse 1-drops. Might have synergy, depending on how many auras there are. I don't know. Maybe it's just too niche. There are probably just better 1-drops. Flying, sacrifice Wings of Hubris. Can't be blocked until end of turn. Sacrifice, whatever. Search your library for basic land. Put it in your hand. Shuffle your library. Destroy target artifact. Destroy target enchantment. Exile target card from a graveyard. I mean, destroying artifacts and enchantments for 2 mana seems pretty good. I like that a lot. Honestly, one of my favorite cards... So I've been playing Jund Food. One of my favorite cards in that deck is actually Stomping Brontodon, because I find a lot of instances to use the pay 1 and sacrifice this creature to destroy an artifact or enchantment. So having that around is definitely nice. Alright, enchant creature. Enters the battlefield with 4 task counters on it. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and has tap to remove a task counter. Then it has no task... Okay. That's... I feel like it'd be better to just use one of the white enchantments that just, like, completely shuts the thing down. This is like, okay, you shut it down for 4 turns. But it's like... At that point, just use Prison Realm or whatever. Unless that rotated out and I'm an idiot. Whenever a creature dies, if an aura you controlled was attached to it, return target creature with converted cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Alright. Maybe. 1 damage to each of 3 target creatures. Those creatures can't block this turn. Voracious Typhon. Exile 4 other cards. Escape. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape. Ah, okay. That's what... Alright. That's what you guys are talking about with mill yourself. Because I didn't know about escape. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. Escapes with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Seems kind of slow. Omen of the Sun enters the battlefield. 2/1/1 white human soldier creature token, and you gain 2 life. I feel like you can get 2/1/1s for less. 2 or more creatures your opponent control attack. Fulmic Cyclops can't... whatever. See what else we got here. Thassa's Oracle. 2 mana. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest at the bottom. Random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. Oh my god. So it's a card that encourages you to just mill yourself down to like a 4 or 5 card deck, and then you play this thing and just win. That's like hilariously gimmicky, and I kind of love it. Legendary. Toughness is equal to your devotion to black. Up to 2 cards from your graveyards, you gain 1 life for each creature card exiled this way. Soul Guide Lantern. Exile target card from a graveyard. Sacrifice Soul Lantern. Exile each opponent's graveyard. I feel like there are definitely... Yeah, okay, so if you're dealing with escape... If escape-themed decks are a thing, you would want a 1-mana exile your opponent's whole-ass graveyard. That's logical. I like that. And then if your opponent isn't playing... if they're not milling themselves, you can just draw a card with it. I like that. Actually, wouldn't this fit in... is Dance in the Manse still in Magic? Did that rotate out? Because if Dance in the Manse is still a thing, this would absolutely fit in that deck. Target creature you control gets +X+O. X is devotion to green. Okay, seems like there are a lot of devotion-themed cards here. Oh god, someone won at the pre-release. That's fun. 3/4 flying. It's pretty slow. Next one. A 6 mana white blue flying lifelink. Whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0. Draw a card when you attack, so it gets +1 upon attacking, and you draw a card. Discard a card. You get hexproof. I mean, it's 6 mana, though. It's 6 mana. It's a lot you can do for 6 mana, especially in white-blue. +1/-1 until end of turn. Another creature becomes the target of an ability of a land you control named Labyrinth. So I guess I need to find Labyrinth of Scophos now. Nothing rotated out with this set. Sick. All right, so I don't need to remember. I don't need to remember how old various cards are. But yeah, so yeah, that lantern thing would fit really well in Dance in the Manse. All right, enchanted creature you control. Oh yeah, because the rotation happens at the. It happens when the core set comes out, right? So core 21 isn't for a while. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1 and has trample. That seems like situationally useful. Choose 1, destroy artifact, gain haste. That actually seems really good because, like, red loves creatures with haste. But I don't know if red has, like, a lot of art. I don't think red has a lot of artifact destruction. So, I don't know. 3 mana for a 2/2 in red. Maybe it's too much, but I feel like that's a good amount. I feel like that's a good amount of utility. The fact that it can do multiple things is nice. Rotation happens every 2 years, not tied to specific sets. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I gotta be honest, guys. I'm pretty new to MTG. I played Yu-Gi-Oh growing up. I played like Pokemon card game when I was like a little kid, and I've mentioned before that I was addicted to Hearthstone for a while. So I've spent a lot of time with card games, and I've always loved card games. But for whatever reason, I never got into paper Magic. And then, the first good version of Magic that you can play online came out. And I was like, well, obviously I need to play this. So I'm not too familiar with a lot of the workings. Not too familiar with the workings of the set rotations and stuff like that. Search for an enchantment, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. I mean, it's 3 mana, but I know tutor spells are like always really powerful. Still kind of high though. 5 mana. Heroes of the Revel enters the battlefield. 1/1 Satyr with this token can't block. Cast a spell that targets heroes creatures you can. Okay. Rise to Glory. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Return aura card from your grave. Okay, this seems really good. Because there are so many ways to get your own creatures into the graveyard. You could very easily make like a 3-color deck with white, black, and like one other thing that has like huge dudes, and then use this to revive them. There's already a deck that does something similar to that. But yeah, I think this could be good. Hyrax Tower Scout. Untap target creature for 3 mana. Highly situational. 1 less to cast for each enchantment you control. So could you have a deck? Oh, that's literally a Hearthstone card. It's a giant that casts 1 less for everything. Yeah, you could easily have a deck that's just like very enchantment heavy, but all for a 5/6, probably not. Scry 2, draw a card. Okay. Inspire Awe. Prevent all combat damage, except combat damage dealt by enchanted creatures and enchantment creatures. Funeral Rites. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, put the top 2 cards of your library in your graveyard. Let's see what the comments say. Idyllic Tutor is pretty sick with Fires of Invention because you tutor it out, play 3. Oh shit, you're right. I always forget about Fires of Invention. I don't play red, so that card's really annoying for me. Every time I encounter it, I'm just like, all right, I forgot to save my mana to counterspell this thing, so now he just gets to roll over me. Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink for 3 mana. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, can't cast spells from the graveyard. I mean, that seems pretty good. Just being a 3/3 for 3 with Vigilance and Menace and Lifelink, it already does a lot of stuff. Plus, it shuts down people who are trying to pull this, like, escape shit. Potentially. Oh, are we bringing Sagas back? I liked Sagas. That's fun. Top 3 cards of their library in the graveyard. Exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. Return target creatures or land from your graveyard to your hand. All right. This is like a piece of a larger strategy. Sacrifice a permanent, play a +1 counter on Blood Aspirant. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Blood Aspirant deals 1 damage to target creature. That creature can't block this turn. So we've got multiple red cards now that deal damage and prevent a thing from blocking. I wonder if this... Maybe it's probably not good enough to fit in Jund Food, because it gets bonuses for sacrificing permanent, and you sacrifice... Because if you... oh god, if you had Cauldron Familiar and Witch's Cauldron, or not Witch's Cauldron, Witch's Oven, and then you play this thing, it goes up to a 3/3. If you have 2 Witch's Ovens, it goes up to a 5/5, potentially, the turn you play it. 5/5 for 2? Maybe? Perhaps? Okay. Cast a spell that targets heroes of game, creatures you control +1. Indomitable Will. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment, get +1, and Menace. Okay, that's pretty... That's one of those cards... I feel like there's a whole category of cards where it's like, it's not vanilla, but it might as well be vanilla. Okay, I got one of these things earlier, but didn't get to read it. Haste, red, green. Other satyrs get +1/+1 and have haste. Attack with 3 or more creatures. You may discard a card at random and draw up and draw 2 cards. Okay. So you would do... So this would be like a really aggressive red-green deck. I feel like we've had pretty aggressive red-green decks before. Well, everything with red is at least kind of aggressive. Equal to your devotion to green. Other creatures you control with the battlefield. Enter with a +1/+1 counter. Escape velocity. +1/+0 and has haste. Escape. Exile 2 other cards from your graveyard. Legion of the Lost Pride. Enters the battlefield. Draw a card. Discard a card. Okay. Alright, next up. Works nice with that hybrid army. Temple of Plenty. Okay, so it's just one of these cards. Dreamstalker Manticore. A 4/2 for 3. Cast your first spell during each opponent's turn. Deal 1 damage to any target. Maybe. Big maybe. Sage of Mysteries. Whenever enchantment enters the battlefield, target player puts top 2. Okay, more mill. 1 mana of any color. If you control a creature with a power 4 or greater, add 2 mana of 1 color instead. Is this potentially a replacement for the Druid? Or is the hexproof on the Druid too good? Or would you run both of them? Or is that too many, like, add a mana creatures? But it fills the same niche. So no hexproof, but you could potentially get 2 mana. Maybe it's just too situational. Like, what are the odds? Like, how consistently can you get a 4-power thing on the board? We can't know for sure. Exile 3. Okay. Add a plain mana. Add 1. Whatever. Boring neutral lands. Mantle of the Wolf. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4. Let's see. Mantle of the Wolf is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Create 2... Ooh. Okay, this thing's expensive, but it's in green. So you have lots of ways to get extra mana. +4/+4 is pretty ridiculous, and then even if it gets destroyed, you still get 2 wolves out of it. That seems pretty good to me. I like it. Seems more for an aggro deck than the versatility of the hexproof one. Okay. Yeah. They're both good, just in different situations. Yeah, no, I like this a lot. You just have to make sure it doesn't get counterspelled, but like that goes for literally every good card. 4-turn Saga. Till end of turn, target creature gains trample and gets +X+0, X's number of lore counters. Target creature you control fight. That takes too long. Death Touch. Put top 3 cards. Okay. Just more discard cards. Aspect of Lamprey. Let's hear. Enters the battlefield. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Enchanted creature has lifelink. It's 4 mana for that. Seems like a bit too much. There's lots of ways to make people discard cards, and this seems like kind of an inefficient way to do it. 5 white mana. Your spells cost X less. X is your devotion to white. See, I feel like I haven't seen a ton of like cost reduction cards in Magic through when I've been playing it. God, I'm getting notifications for my friend's group chat. People are asking me to sell my bathwater. Let's see here. Cast a spell, targets creatures you control. Okay. +3/+3 and gains reach. Can see ways to annoy like very specific decks with that. Phoenix of Ash. Ooh. Flying Haste. Pay 3 mana for +2/+0. Escape. Exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. Escapes with a +1 counter on it. I feel like there are better Phoenixes. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card. Lose 1 life. I mean, if having stuff in people's graveyards is a huge problem, I guess it's better thought erasure, but otherwise it's worse thought erasure. Target creature an opponent controls -X/-X. X is your devotion to black. So if you have enough black permanents, you can just kill something with that. But it's 6 mana, which is too much. 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker, gain +1/+1. 4 damage is a lot. 4 mana is a lot. Seems okay. Enchantment enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Okay. Sure, whatever. Ooh, an Is It card. I love Is It. Add 2 neutral mana, only to cast artifact spells. Equipped creatures you control have flying and haste. I don't know about that one, Sheaf. Lifelink. Sacrifice Alseid of Life's Bounty. Target creature and enchantment you control gains protection from color. I mean, you could... oh, God. If that's... Because if you could just activate that whenever, you can definitely frustrate some people that way. You could absolutely annoy some people with that activated ability. Similar to like that one like white bodyguard. I forget what it's called, but it's like, all right, I got to kill this thing before I can do anything else, basically. All right, Menace. Enters the battlefield. Target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and face-up pile. 1 pile in your hand and the other in your graveyard. Oh, so basically it's like if you have a deck that can do a lot of shit with cards in your graveyard, you sort of force them to pick their poison. Remains to be seen. 1 or more cards are put into your graveyard from your library. Devourer of Memory gets +1/+1 until the end of turn and can't be blocked. And then you can just pay 3 mana to put a card into your graveyard. Maybe? Exile target non-land permanent. Okay, so it's just, yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. Why pay 2 mana for that 1 card that like wears off after 4 turns? But then when you can just pay 3 mana and just get rid of it indefinitely. Underworld Charger can't block. Escape, exile 3 other cards. Escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Some of these escape cards seem very expensive. Though I suppose the idea is that like if you play them out early and then these things die, you can get them back later when you have like a lot of mana to work with. So maybe the value works out. Maybe it all like clicks. Could see that potentially working. I've definitely had some games where like I have so much mana and just nothing to do with it because all my stuff's gone. So like maybe that's the time you play all the escape cards. Sleep of the Dead. Tap target creature, doesn't untap. Okay. Blast from the past. Temple of Malice. All right. Underworld Fires. Deals 1 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. If permanent dealt damage this way, it would die. Exile it instead. If tokens are big, that's really good. If they're not, whatever. Search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Oh, see, this, I like that. It's 3 mana to find an aura, or an enchant, well, yeah, an aura, but you get a dude with it, so you're not just searching your deck. Destroy target creature, 4 or greater, you gain 3 life. For 4 mana, 2/3 Pegasus. It's a 2/3 Pegasus. Scavenging Harpy. Exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. +1/-1. Exile 2 other cards from your graveyard. All right. What else have we got here? Come on. Yeah. Oh boy, this one must be interesting. When Uro enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped, and its escape cost is 4. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Then you may put a land from your hand onto the Holy shit! I think this thing is just really, really good. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems busted. Like, obviously you have to get it into your graveyard first, and there's, like, tons of stuff that can exile shit. But if there's enough ways to put your own stuff in your graveyard, like, this for 4 mana, assuming you have the cards to exile, that seems busted to me. And it's not like blue-green are, like, weak colors. That's a really good combination right now. So I want to try that out. +3/+3, attacks each combat if able. When enchanted creature dies, deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. Nah, I think not. 0/1 white goat. Turn target creature or enchantment to its owner's hand. For 1 mana, a 1 mana instant in blue? I mean, that seems really good. Not like game breaking or anything, but like blue loves that kind of shit. Just like 1 mana, bounce it to your hand. Let's see. Okay. 1 mana human soldier. Put 3/1/1 counters on one target creature you control. If you control a creature with 4 or greater power, draw 2 cards. Create a gold token. All right, I gotta see what the gold token is now. Sacrifice this artifact, 1 mana of any color. That's a long way to go for sacrifice this artifact. I mean, yes, you get the 3+1/+1s, but I don't know. Like, compared to a lot of the other sagas I've seen, like, it's like it's no, God, whatever the black one was that brought a thing from your graveyard that, like, kills a dude and then revives your guy. That one was so good. I used to play nothing but like a Nico Bolas deck. It was awesome. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink. Whenever this creature deals combat damage, draw a card. Okay. If you have enough, like, if you're playing a deck with lots of, like, unblockable or flyers, yeah. I mean, there have been good blue decks that have just had dudes that draw cards when you attack with them. There was, I forget what that. Oh, but that was a 1 mana enchantment. Whatever. Maybe it's good. It could be. Eldest Reborn, thank you. Tap target creature an opponent controls whenever. Okay, whatever. It's a 4/4 for 5. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, Triton Wave Diver gains flying. Honestly, I'd rather just play a weaker thing that always has flying. Woe Strider. 0-1 goat token. Sacrifice a creature, scry 1. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. Ghost Rider escapes with 2. Okay. Okay, so I'm guessing there's a bunch of these black cards that create little, Curious Obsession! Thank you, Lord Freed. Yes, I remember Curious Obsession decks were a thing. It was like a really fast tempo blue deck with, where you tried to get your cheap dudes, your cheap 1/1 flyers to draw cards by attacking. So maybe you could do something like that with that blue-white card, but maybe 2 mana is too much for that kind of effect. Yeah, so it looks like black can create all these goat tokens. Again, I wonder if that synergizes with Jund Food, because if you're creating all of these literal scapegoats, can you then sacrifice them to trigger all those effects? 3 mana, red-white. Create a 1, so it comes into battlefield with a 1/1 human. Cast a spell, creature. Okay, so there's a few different. I've seen a lot of creatures that give everything +1/+0 when you target them. So maybe that's just like a solid aggro strategy. You just get a board of cheap dudes and start giving them all +1/+0. Could work. It might be that other shit is just stronger, but. I've seen similar things. First strike, trample, haste, crew, becomes an artifact okay, whatever. Destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less, reveals their hand, choose non-creature, non-land card from it, exile target opponent's graveyard. I don't know, man. The third turn just doesn't seem that solid. Top 4 cards of your library. Put a creature card and or a land from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. So 3 mana to essentially draw 2 cards with scry 4. All right. Maybe. I don't know if green wants that, but maybe green-blue wants that? +0/+1 until end of turn. Okay, whatever. Got a lot of packs to go through. Careless Celebrant. 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Okay. More good aggro. Create an 8/8 blue Kraken with hexproof. Oh, I love it. Tap all non-land permanents target opponent controls. They don't untap during their controller's end step. Gain control of target permanent. Holy shit. Okay, so basically it's 7 mana, which is stupid expensive, but if you can actually get it on the field... Oh my god. Oh. It's probably too expensive to be useful, but like, maybe. Just maybe. It'd be so funny if you could get that off. I love stupid, expensive shit like this. That is probably good in Sealed or whatever. Starlit Mantle. Flash, enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gains hexproof. Okay, that's just, okay. I like that. That's just like a good way to fuck people up because, you know, you try to remove your thing. Yeah, exactly, Otto. A finisher for control deck. That's, you spend a lot of time just counterspelling and stalling, and then you drop that and fuck people up. Exactly. It's just a question of if you can have a blue deck, then... It's just a question of if you can have a blue deck that like can create a circumstance where you can actually play this and have it stay on the field. Yeah, this seems really good, though. Just like your opponent tries to kill your thing, you just make them hexproof and give them +1/+1. Another copy. Well, see, now I've gotten 3 copies now. I have to make a Thassa's Oracle deck. It has to happen. Draw a card. Escape 3. Exile 5 of your cards from your graveyard. Okay. This reminds me a bit of Radical Idea, the 2 mana blue draw card with Jumpstart. So it's just that, but instead of discarding a card from your hand, you have to exile from your graveyard. But it's not the worst. Because, again, if this, well, no, because you want shit in your graveyard. So it's just not as good as Radical Idea. Loses all abilities and is a blue fish with base power and toughness 0-1. 3 mana for that. Well, alright. Target creature, okay. +1/+0, indestructible. Nah. Cure just fights that. Okay. Loathsome Chimera. Edward, exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. Loathsome Chimera escapes with +1/+1. Okay. Alright, let's see. Flying. Archon of Falling Stars dies. You may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your battlefield. For 6 mana? Probably not. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay, maybe in, like, red-white aggro? Maybe. Flash. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gains first strike until end of turn and +1/+0. Maybe 3 mana is too expensive for that, but like first strike and +2, that's a seems like a good combat trick. All right. Arcrowan War. Target creature for as long as gain control of target creature for 4 mana. Till your next turn, creatures your opponent controls attack each combat if able. Tap creature deals damage to its... Okay, this seems really good. Excuse me. Could you run this in like an Is-It deck? To just steal people's creatures and then make them fight themselves? I think this makes a lot of sense. I like this. Alright, just a big dude. Okay. Oh boy. It's a red-black card. Alright, so this... Okay, so there's several of these things. When Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card, then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. Are all of these things going to be busted? I mean, obviously this is dependent on black-red having the ability to get tons of stuff in its graveyard, but, like, that's such a common theme this set. Like, I don't know. Trample. Can't attack unless you control another... Okay, whatever. Ah, yes, good old Plummet. Just kill a thing with flying. Right. Oh boy, spiders. Whenever your opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2. Okay, I love this. Because, like, they're gonna have to spend... I don't know, I just like the idea of, like, forcing your opponent to play around not being able to, like... Basically, if you're going to play an instant or sorcery, it has to be to kill this thing specifically. And then if, like, you have a trick or, like, some response to that and it can't kill it, you get the spider and they waste the spell. Oh, man. Maybe it doesn't fit into whatever decks are going to be good, but I like it in concept, just removed from context. I don't know. There's only the 2... Okay, there are only those 2 Titans, but they're both really good. Okay. Alright. You gain 1 life whenever a land is put into the graveyard. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. But... I don't know. I feel like gain 1 life. unless you're in a deck where gaining life is a huge deal, like if you were running, I don't know, a Johnny's Pride Mate or something like that that can just expand out of control if you're gaining life. I don't think gaining life like that is really that good. Draw a card, you may play one, and if you do, put a +1 counter on the Kraken and create a 1/1 tentacle token. Interesting. Probably not worth it, honestly. Gain life equal to devotion to green. Chain to memory. -4/-0 until end of turn. Alright, so just like you don't get to deal damage today, scry 2. Let's see here. Alright. Temple. Field of Ruin. Destroy target non-basic land. Each player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it into the battlefield, then shuffles their library. Okay. And then you pay 2 for that. I feel like this has been run before. This is I've definitely seen this card in another set. So it'll probably get run again. Just, I don't know, in what your favorite Magic the Gathering ship says about you. Oh, God. Sacrifice a permanent, gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment, gains first strike. I don't know. Well, it's only 2 mana, so maybe it's worth it. Revoke existence. Yeah, see, that's real good. Just exile a thing. 1/1 with Death Touch? Maybe. Elspeth Conquers Death. Exile target permanent with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Non-creature spell your opponent casts with 2 or more cast. Okay, non-creature spells your opponent's cast cost 2 or more. Target creature, planeswalker card, or planeswalker from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 or a loyalty counter on it. I mean, is 5... I don't know. I wonder if 5 mana is worth it for that. Because that's good, obviously. Because you, like, your planeswalker dies, then you play this, you kill their planeswalker, you get yours back in 2 turns with an extra loyalty counter. I think you can do that for 5 mana, but white isn't very good right now, so it might just... I don't know if you can make a white deck that isn't super aggressive, and that wouldn't work in an aggressive deck. It's just too much. +1/+1 counter an enchanted creature at the beginning of your upkeep. Double the number of +1/+1 counters. Oh, man. Oh, man, that's fun. That probably won't work because you're just like, hey, let's make this thing like a 10/10. Now it's a 20/20, you know? But who knows? If you can keep that thing safe, it could get stupid. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. Oh, target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land? And it's only 2 mana, 2/3. Am I crazy or does this seem ridiculously good? I really like this. So you're green. So you're playing nothing but creatures and enchantments. None of them can be countered. And then once you get enough enchantments on the field, you can start going full-on fucking Nissa who shakes the world and just turning your lands into elementals. Not as good. I mean, obviously not as good as Nissa who shakes the world. Because you're, like, they don't have haste and vigilance. But, you know, late game, it's a cheap card that's good late game. Like, you can't hate. Discard a card, draw 2 cards for 2 mana. Cannot complain. Cannot complain. Tectonic Giant. Attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls. Choose one. 3 damage to each opponent. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. And you can play the card. I don't know. I don't think that fits Red's game plan. Flying. Beginning of your upkeep. Return one up to one other target enchantment you control to its owner's hand. Enchantment you control. -1/-1 for each card in your opponent's hands at the beginning of your upkeep. Each player... No. When an enchantment enters the battlefield, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay. Tectonic is fantastic, you say. Interesting. Maybe I'm just not thinking of the correct situation for it. I mean, like, granted, Red already has, like, a lot of cards that see play that do similar things, where it's just, like, take the top few cards off your deck and you can play them. So, I mean, that makes sense. It's like that, plus you get a creature attached to it. Alright. Thrix Sudden Storm, 5 mana. Flash Flying, we're already off to a good start. Spells you cast with converted mana cost 5 or greater cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered. Now, granted, you're blue. I mean, obviously, it's not like you don't have to worry about other blue decks. Maybe that fits into a control deck where you have shit that costs 5 or more. But if it costs 5 or more, it's like... I feel like 1 mana makes less of a... Like, if you're... Like, for... Like, a 5 mana card versus a 6 mana card... Like, it's a lot bigger than the difference between, like, a 1 to 2 mana or 2 to 3 mana. Something like that. You know. Enchanted permanent is an enchantment and loses all other card types. It's pretty situational for 4 mana. Alright. Flash. Omen of the Dead enters the battlefield. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Scry 2. For 1 mana? I don't know. I mean, for one, it's a very small effect. Okay. Target player puts that many cards from the top of their graveyard, top of the library, into their grave. Okay, so deals damage and then they mill them. So more mill synergy. Can't get enough of that mill synergy. Shatter the Sky. Controls a creature with power 4 or greater, draws a card, then destroy all creatures. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, if white is good, then this is good. Because it's just 4 mana, destroy everything. But will white be playable? That is the question. Alright. Enchantment enters the battlefield under your control. Double strike until end of turn. I don't know, I'm not feeling Constellation. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it correctly, but I don't see that being, like, super, super good. Exile target creature or enchantment, then return it to the battlefield under its opponent's control. Okay. That would actually... You know what's funny is that those Titans, the broken 6/6s, that would kill them. Because they can't... You sacrifice them if they weren't played for their escape cost. So that would... I think that would just kill them. Another Temple. Thirst for Meaning. Draw 3 cards, discard 2, unless you discarded an enchantment card. Alright. Draw 3, discard 1 for 3 mana. Potentially, that seems pretty good. Excuse me. All right, Buff Lady. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Reveal an aura card from among them, put it in your hand. The rest on the bottom. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature, create a 1/1 human soldier token. All right. Okay. Enigmatic Incarnation. More Simic cards. Beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another enchantment. If you do, search your library for a creature with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed enchantment's converted mana cost. Put it onto the battlefield. Okay. There's a similar card that I see every so often that I can't remember the name of because I can't remember the name of frickin' anything. But there's a whole synergy deck around that thing where you're like sacrificing a creature and then getting one that's 1 mana stronger than it is. This is similar, but it's also 4 mana, and I think that spell is like 2 mana. But this is repeatable. It's a big difference. So you could loop this, right? Like you could get an enchantment on the battlefield, sacrifice it with this thing, and then if it survives to the next turn... Yeah, Birthing Pod. Yeah. All right. All right, let's see what else we got. Maybe... I think there's a reason I don't see Birthing Pod decks that often. Beginning of combat on your turn, target enchanted creature enchantment. +1/+1 gains trample. Beginning of your end step. Control a creature with 4 or greater. Exile top card of your library. Play. Okay. Neoform. Yep. Neoform was the card I was thinking of. Sorry, I'm on a delay here. Just because that's how the stream was set up. So sorry if I'm reading all of the chat way after the thing I've talked about is not on the screen anymore. Okay, target enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library. So 1 mana, get rid of an enchantment, which is probably better than putting it in the graveyard because of how this deck works, or how this set works. 3 damage to any target, scry 1. I feel like red has better ways to deal damage. Counter target spell, scry 2 for 4 mana. 4 mana counter spells. I feel like 2 to 3 mana is ideal for counter spells. Anything above that, it's got to have a really good secondary effect on it. 2 mana for -3/-3. Feel like that's pretty good. Stream sniping Eldna opening packs. Oh god. Let's see here. God, I wish Pod was in bed. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Blessed by the Sun. Toughness equal to devotion to white. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, you die, gain 1 life. Again, if you have a synergy deck that revolves around gaining small amounts of life over and over again, that's good. But will a deck like that be useful? Leaning towards no. Oh, here's the Labyrinth. Remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. So, does remove from combat just mean that if it's attacking or blocking, it stops doing whatever it's doing, basically? I'm assuming that's what it means. That's 4 mana is probably too expensive. Yeah, I can't see that being useful. Eidolon of Obstruction. First strike, loyalty abilities of planeswalkers, your opponent's call. It's probably too niche. I mean, First Strike can be annoying, but I don't know. Warbriar Blessing. Enters the battlefield, enchanted creature fights up to one target creature you don't control, and it gets +0/+2. Johnny life gain is currently big in aggro. No damage and stuff. Basically, you pretend it didn't attack. Yep. Yeah, the maze seems too expensive for what it does. I don't know. This is only good if you have something that already has high attack. Well, I don't know. I feel like putting +1/+1 counters is better than +0/+2, even if it comes with forcing combat. A 3/3 for 2, 2 mana to gain Indestructible. When it dies, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with the enchant creature you control, and enchanted creature gains it. Is this not ridiculously good? Hello? I mean, like, obviously you need, like, a solid green-white deck to run it in, but, like, hello? That seems stupid good. Whenever an opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage to that player, I can think of some decks that would be really fucking annoying against. But, it's probably too situational. Plus, you hurt yourself with it, too. Another pushed green-white lion. I'm just going to guess that pushed is like MTG slang for like really, really, really good, like way better than average. Omen of the Hunt enters the battlefield. Search your library for a basic land. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. Shuffle your library. Sacrifice Omen Scry 2. So you're spending 3 mana to just put another land on the battlefield. I don't know about that one, Chief. Another one of those Cerberuses. Human Lion also triggers... let's see here. Works well in an Underworld Dreams deck. 6/1 for 4. Attacks each combat if able. Enters the battlefield. Choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. Haktos has potential from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. It's Achilles. He has 1 weakness. So that's so gimmicky. That's so dumb and gimmicky. Oh my god. Sacrifice, draw 3 cards for 7 mana. Jesus. Pushed is extra benefits chucked onto a moderate card to make it competitive. Gotcha. Another Spider, Grim Physician. Target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 when it dies. Alright. So best case scenario, it dies and you kill 1/1 with it. Alright. Erebos' Intervention. Target creature gets -X/-X, and you gain X life. Okay. Exile up to twice. Seems too expensive to, like, kill a thing. X is your devotion to green for 6 mana. Flash Flying. Threnody Singer enters the battlefield. Target creature an opponent controls get -X. X is your devotion to blue. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe Flash Flying. It's kind of hard to go wrong with flash flying for cheap flash flying creatures. I don't know. Top X cards of your library. Put up to 2 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Counter target spell unless its controller pays twice X. Pays twice X. So, potentially that is a 3-mana counter spell. If your opponent is using the last of their mana, and especially if you have this in the early game, that's a very real possibility that they won't be able to pay 2 mana to counter that. Or to negate the counter spell, rather. And then if you don't have anything to counter, you can do this thing where you scry X, draw 2. Well, draw 2. Scry X, pick 2. So, alright. You know what? I think that's solid. I like it. Yeah. Alright. Storyteller. Okay. Enters the battlefield, put target enchantment from your graveyard on top of your library. If you do, you gain life equal to its converted mana cost. See what else we got here. God of Destiny. 3 mana, 4/5, indestructible? As long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7, Klothys isn't a creature. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, add red or green. Otherwise, you gain 2 life and it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Okay, so it's indestructible. So you need devotion to red or green is less than 7. I feel like 7 devotion is a lot to ask. That's a lot, man. But maybe the secondary effect is good enough where if it's not a creature, I don't hate that, actually. Maybe. Because because here's the thing, if this set is full of shit that puts stuff in people's graveyards that just mills people to death, like maybe there's enough stuff to make that worthwhile. Maybe, in that you just get an extra mana off it. Maybe I'm thinking probably not. It's probably not good enough. Counter target creature or enchantment spell. If the spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it. 3 mana counter spell. Love it. Love it. Another sick lion. Rage Hound. Attacks each combat if able. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Escapes with a +1/+1. Okay. See what else we got. Archon of Sun's Grace, 4 mana, flying lifelink. Pegasuses have lifelink. When enchantment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2. Okay, see, this is a constellation ability I like. 4 mana to create 2/2s. Okay, this maybe. Again, white is really weak right now, but I don't know. If a Pegasus synergy deck exists, this would be really good in it. Yeah, no. For 6 mana, it's not going anywhere. Another giant Stampede Rider, 3 mana, 2/3, trample. Beginning of each combat, if you control a creature with 4 or greater, gets +1/+1 until end. Okay, whatever. The Pegasus is the you win limited card. Okay, I can absolutely see that. Nyx Lotus. Oh boy, a Lotus. Enters tapped. Tap. Choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. Does this go in the does this go in like the late game blue deck? Do you do mono blue control with this and just use it to ramp out ridiculously expensive shit? It's probably just totally impractical. Probably just impractical. Inevitable end. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Enchanted creature has at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Maybe. 3 mana. If they only have one thing on the field and it's big, spend 3 mana to kill it. But then is it just like worse than murder? Because murder isn't played. Enchant creature dies, return the card to the battlefield under your control. Oh shit, it's a flash? That's really good. Potentially anyway. Obviously, you need like... So you could like bring your own stuff back with this or your opponent's stuff. I don't know. Maybe I just like stealing people's creatures, but that seems good. Otto pointing out, this just goes to show how little I play sealed. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, you may have protein that become a copy of another target creature, except it has this ability. That could be fun. Especially if you like go to the late game and are playing big creatures. You can just out of nowhere get a second copy of one. You may choose not to untap Entrancing Lyre during your untap step. Tap target creature with power X or less, doesn't untap, for as long as Enchanting Lyre remains tapped. So you spend a bunch of mana to permanently tap something. Again, at that point, I think I'd rather just, like, exile or kill it. Inevitable End would be useful for a deck that sacrifices its own creatures. Ah, yes. That would work. That makes sense. Power equal to devotion to red, or another non-creature token. Dies. Create a 1/1 red satyr with this. If the creature had 4 power greater, create 2. Okay. I think there could be something here. In the sense that you're just creating, like... Red aggro decks love creating lots of small dudes, so maybe this is a decent way to do it, but I don't know. I think there might be better ways to do that. Nessian Boar. 10/6. All creatures block it. Able to block Nessian Boar do so. Becomes blocked by a creature that creature's controller draws it. Okay. Okay. No. No. You can't. You can't do that. Underworld Breach. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. Oh boy. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice... At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. Okay, okay, okay. So you get one turn. You get one turn where you can play a bunch of shit from your graveyard. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. Target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Okay. Just 3 mana removal, potentially. All right, last one, and then I'm probably just gonna turn the stream off because I got some other stuff to do. I need to eat dinner, and it's just a giant. All right, well, that was a fun little adventure, I would say. I was hoping to get more Why can't I remember the name of the guild? Blue-black. I should know what it's called. I was hoping to get more blue-black cards, because that's, like, my favorite color combination. I was hoping it would get better this time around. Maybe, I don't know. I should have a bunch of wild... Yeah, I have 19 rares and 7 mythic rares. So, I don't know. I'm the kind of player where, like, I'm probably going to wait until the meta has settled a bit before I start crafting stuff and making a good deck. Let's see here. Not Fargan. Dimir. Fucking, alright. Whatever. Anyway, this has been fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little adventure in me streaming. I hope the quality has been acceptable. You know, hope this hasn't been too hard to watch. I may do some streams in the future, but, you know, I already have so much other stuff going on that I'm not sure where that'll fit into my schedule. In any case, hope you guys liked this, and I'll see y'all later. Whenever the Fire Emblem video comes out, or the next Pokemon Let's Play if you watch those. See ya!